What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming-related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here tonight. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. A game that everyone's heard of and at some point or another you probably came in contact with was Rock Band. A game in which really got a bunch of people together to play a game and all have everyone would have their own purpose in Rock Band and trying to, of course, play different, types of music and songs and things of that nature. And each person had their own role to play, which was a very cooperative experience. Well, Rock Band, guys, we haven't seen a continuation of this franchise for quite some time. So in this first segment of the show, I want to talk about what happened to Rock Band. So let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by Kotaku, that being Mike Fahey from Kotaku, on November 20th, 2007, Harmonix, EA, and MTV Games released the first Rock Band, a 4-player, instrument-driven rhythm game that briefly changed the face of social multiplayer gaming. Now, if you had told me in early 2007 that a $170 box packed with a game, guitar, drums, and a mic would sell millions of copies, driving competitors to develop their own expensive band in a box games, I would have called you crazy. If you told me in early 2008 that Rock Band and its progenitor turned competition, Guitar Hero, would be all but dead by 2011, I would have been too busy playing Rock Band to hear you. During the years following Rock Band's initial release, there was no better way to share music with friends than to get in front of a television and jam to Rock Band. It was at parties, it was at gaming conventions, it was at my local bar, drawing crowds almost as big as Sunday football. Not only did Rock Band and its ilk bring together friends and friends with friends, it connected players with music they otherwise might have never heard. Some of my favorite songs to this day, and that's so true. I mean, look, I think, just getting back here to this first paragraph, what's really important, guys, to understand is that, okay, 2007, you have a game that's selling millions of copies, and yeah, it was expensive, $170. Now, I never bought Rock Band myself. I did get Guitar Hero, never bought Rock Band, but I did have friends who bought it, and people loved this game. I think one of the biggest, pitfalls or downfalls of Rock Band was the fact that you had to play with multiple other people. Even though that was fun, it was kind of like if you were just wanting to kind of play by yourself, it was a little bit more difficult. That would be something like Guitar Hero you could always do. But it's crazy to think that in 2007, you have so many copies being sold, and then all of a sudden in 2011, basically all these games were pretty much dying or dead at that point, which is absolutely unimaginable at this point. Unfortunately, the public's enthusiasm for rhythm games led Rock Band publisher EA and Guitar Hero publisher Activision to go completely EA and Activision on the series. Between 2007 and 2010, 6 Rock Band games, not counting mobile and portable releases, were released, including the Beatles Rock Band, Green Day Rock Band, and Lego Rock Band. In 2008, Activision upgraded Guitar Hero to full band game, releasing a new version each year until 2010, along with 2009's Band Hero, a pop-centric spin-off. And so really, guys, when we talk about the downfall of these games, I think it can really be pinpointed at a number of things. But one of the big things was the amount of games that they were making within these franchises. EA and Activision have a tendency to try to oversaturate things or just overextend what they're doing. Now, Activision has done very well with Call of Duty, making a new COD every single year. But with Guitar Hero, they were making multiple games each year, and it was just unsustainable. And I think the same can be said for Rock Band. It was just unsustainable, especially when you're asking $170 a pop for Rock Band as a whole. As genre oversaturation goes, it was pretty impressive. It's almost as if EA and Activision had teamed up to make people completely sick of band games. Harmonix released Rock Band 3 in the fall of 2010, and its sales weren't great. In fact, it was outsold that holiday season by another Harmonix game, Dance Central, a game exclusive to the Xbox 360's then new Kinect sensor. That's just plain sad. Still, Harmonix kept releasing new songs for Rock Band 3 until mid-2013. Harmonix brought back the series in October 2015 with Rock Band 4. It's a great band game, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people want that right now. It probably didn't help that Activision also released the first new Guitar Hero game since 2010 in the same month. Harmonix has been updating Rock Band 4 pretty steadily since its release, adding new game modes, online multiplayer support, and new music. Earlier this year, the studio released Rock Band VR, which Kirk Hamilton called the most fun he'd had playing Rock Band in years. So look, I think, guys, when we look at this, you know, a lot of it had to do with just how the repetition of making more and more games instead of kind of spreading them out somewhat, giving this genre a breath of fresh air. But here's the one thing about this. It was popular at one time, obviously now got oversaturated, and I now think that a lot of people would be interested in maybe coming back to this franchise on the next generation consoles and stuff, maybe trying Rock Band again or Guitar Hero. If they made those, or brand new IPs that are in the music genre, I think the next generation of consoles could definitely use something like a Rock Band or a Guitar Hero. And it's definitely something that I wouldn't be surprised. So if you're a huge Rock Band fan and you want to see continuations of this franchise, I don't think it might all be doom and gloom for you, at least at this point. Because when you really look at the totality of it and you look at exactly Rock Band as a franchise and how much it sold, and sure, it had steep declines simply because of the amount of games they were bringing out. I mean, guys, it really comes down to that. And the same can be said for Activision. Activision, I think they learned a valuable lesson not to be, just oversaturating that market so much. Now, Call of Duty is the strongest brand in basically all of gaming, or at least one of them. And so obviously, if you keep making them every single year, as long as they're somewhat different from one another, they kind of have the same, overall general, scope of what each other is. But the big difference is that they have different campaigns, different, the multiplayer experiences are different, from here, from each game, of course. And with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, it was basically a copy and paste, but the only difference was just, different songs. So I think there needs to be a game that comes out, I think, on Xbox Series X or on the PlayStation 5 or whatever the case might be, and it should be a Rock Band or a Guitar Hero or a new IP, and the developer makes that one game. It's like a free-to-play game. All you have to do is buy the instruments or something, and then from there, you can go ahead and play it, and they just update it as time goes. That would be something that would be very interesting. And I think a Rock Band, guys, obviously that would be a little bit more complicated than like a Guitar Hero because of all the different instruments and the cooperative play. But I think that it's something that should be kind of brought back up at some point or another in the foreseeable future. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Would you guys want to see a continuation of Rock Band or Guitar Hero? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Rock Band content and videos, stay right here with Zero TV. Do you ever wonder what happened to Tony Hawk Pro Skater? Those video games that had just in many ways had completely grasped the imagination of so many people, and just was a game that was extremely fun just to sit down, chill with your friends or by yourself and do a bunch of combos, and you kept on wanting to get better and better at the game. And then a lot of people would end up going outside and would start trying to do the same thing with their own skateboard. I remember that, and that was definitely a time, and a lot of people nowadays won't really be able to appreciate that or be able to experience it because we haven't seen a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game in quite some time. So let's talk about what happened to this series, guys. In an article that was written from Games Radar's Alex Avard, Tony Hawk has parted ways with Activision. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 came out in 2015. But I won't hold it against you if you've successfully blocked the memory out of your mind. It was a lazy, half-remake riddled with bugs and baffling controls, and apparently the final nail in the coffin for the once-beloved skating game franchise from Activision. That's because Hawk himself recently revealed that he's amicably cut ties with Activision after their contract ended in 2015, with current indicators of a renewed working partnership. The professional skateboarder announced the news on Twitter in response to fans repeatedly asking him about Pro Skater remasters, explaining that he'd personally be more than ready and willing to make them if he possessed the skills authority to reboot servers or code games for newer systems. So Tony Hawk did tweet out, he said, to anyone asking me to remaster old games or complaining about THPS servers being down, Activision owns the THPS license, but I am no longer working with them. If I had the skills authority to reboot servers or code games for newer systems on my own, I would be happy to. Now, here's what's interesting. More recently than not, guys, there was a leak that came out stating that Activision is a bunch of games that they're working on, but one of them is a Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remastered Edition, and that's something that would be very interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, especially because Tony Hawk cut ties with Activision cut ties in 2015. So that's something that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Sadly, he's not quite as adept at game development as a gnarly BS 180 heel flips, and Activision apparently is interested in helping him out. That's strange, given there's a clear appetite for new skating games amongst a sizable audience. Just look at the whoppingly successful Kickstarter campaign for Session, and in the works indie skateboarding sim that promises to be a spiritual successor to Skate 3, although we're still waiting for Skate 4. There's another game that we're kind of wondering about, like, whatever happened to all these games? I mean, we just talked in the last segment about Rock Band and how Rock Band and Guitar Hero and all these games, they were in the music genre that were so popular, and then all of a sudden those completely died. And then we have like Skate and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, all of those died. Like, it's so strange how things are changing within gaming, but to me, all of these games should be able to coexist in gaming as it is right now. I mean, we look at all the shooters that are still around and shooters that should be back that haven't made their way back. And the same thing with Tony Hawk Pro Skaters. And I mean, these were very popular. So Tony Hawk also tweeted out, to clear up a few things about Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I work closely with Neversoft on our series to provide ideas and authenticity without writing code, and I am forever grateful to Activision for 2 decades of support. My contract with them ended amicably in 2015, and thank you to all the fans. Does this mark the unceremonious end of Tony Hawk video games for good? Well, curiously, Hawk told the website Genchem last year that he was potentially working on something, though the details of which remain under secrecy for now. So, obviously, guys, he's working on stuff, right? This is a guy who is certainly working on something, whether it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater or a different maybe skateboard type game or a completely new game altogether, maybe a movie. Who knows at this point what he's working on? All I know is that Tony Hawk Pro Skater was an extremely entertaining and just chill game to play, whether it was by yourself or with your friends, and something that a lot of us would like talk about. It was a big deal back in the day. Hopefully, we will see a continuation of Tony Hawk Pro Skater in one shape or form. Now, one thing I would like to mention is I'm hoping that Activision doesn't decide to make a ton of them all at once. Now, I don't know what the rights are and how that works, or if they're allowed to continue making games even though Tony Hawk cut ties in 2015. I'm not sure, but all I know is that it sounds like a remaster is coming from Activision for the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and so that's going to be very interesting to say the least. All in all, though, guys, I think that this is a series that deserves to coexist with other games out there. It deserves its place in gaming, and I think there's a lot of people who would be interested in it. Obviously, it's not, skateboarding was very popular back when I was younger, back in elementary school, but I think that it's something that there's still like a very niche group of people that enjoy it. I think really a lot of people, even if you're not really big into skateboarding, it was just entertaining because I wasn't into skateboarding, but I really loved those games. So I'd love to see a continuation of it. I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this? Do you think we're going to get another Tony Hawk Pro Skater game at some point in the future? And what do you guys think happened to this franchise? Because in my opinion, guys, I think what really happened to Tony Hawk and the Pro Skater franchise was that they just stopped making games in 2015. Maybe there was a slight decline like in revenues and things of that nature where Activision just thought, hey, you know what, it's going to be better for us to move in a different direction, that being like Call of Duty and other games. It's hard to say. But once upon a time, the Tony Hawk series was one of the biggest in video games. If you listen to Metacritic, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater titles are some of the best games of all time, and every one of them was a runaway bestseller. At the beginning of the last decade, just after the release of Pro Skater 2, the franchise was generating $250 million a year, guys. $250 million a year, which is absolutely crazy. Now, last year, the year of Tony Hawk Ride, franchise sales were closer to 100 million. This year, Activision failing to flog 120 fake skateboards to children, which Activision publicly defends its abysmal sales. So obviously, sales certainly had something to do with this, guys, and I do remember that being an issue. But if you're wondering just how popular Tony Hawk series once was, you only need to look at its ubiquity as a gaming culture touchstone. Everyone who so much as looked at a video game in the late 90s and early 90s had played Pro Skater. We've got some numbers too if you're into that. So the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, released in 1999, sold about 3 million in the US according to Activision's boast at the time. Pro Skater 2 did even better, shipping 1 million in less than a month in the States, and that really was a lot back in 2000. Wedbush Morgan puts the series' total sales at around $1.7 billion globally over the last 11 years. So look, I think, guys, what we can really say about this is that this was a very popular franchise that did have a decline over time, right? It obviously did. And part of that may have been Activision, may have been just, kind of people were kind of getting sick of Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. People wanted to move on to other, genres. But I think this is a series that could come back. At least Skate could certainly come back. But I don't see why Tony Hawk Pro Skater couldn't come back. I mean, look, guys, we play a new Madden game. A lot of people do, at least. A new Madden game every year. A brand new NBA 2K every year. MLB The Show. FIFA. I mean, there's all these games that come out every single year. Why can't skateboarding be in that same category? And so that's something that I'm kind of just thinking about and wondering, why haven't we seen a continuation? I think part of it might have been the sales. Part of it might be also that Tony Hawk and Activision itself, just obviously they cut ties, and who knows what the rights are at this point with those two. But a remaster is in the talks of coming out, has been rumored. If you're a big Tony Hawk Pro Skater fan, I think that you might have something to look forward to potentially. But like I said, guys, I want to know from you guys in the comment section below, what do you guys think happened to the franchise? And would you guys like to see a continuation of Tony Hawk or Skate or games of, in the skateboarding genre? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Tony Hawk Pro Skater videos and content, stay here with Zero TV. It's never too early to talk about new and upcoming games, guys, even games that haven't been announced yet. As you guys know from my channel, we talk about these types of things all the time on the YouTube channel, where we are talking about the future of gaming franchises that we love and games that we want to see continuations within the gaming industry. And that is just something that we love to talk about, trying to stir up conversation, get everyone who is, fans like myself of some of these franchises to continue breathing life into these franchises and having those continue, because as many developers have said, it really comes down to the fan base as to what you want to see out of that franchise. That being like, if you want to see continuations of certain franchises, we as a community have to voice our opinion, voice that we want those things to happen. So I'm constantly talking on this YouTube channel about the future of games, the future of video games, to try to continue moving the gaming community and gaming industry forward in a direction where we continue seeing our favorite games, and we talk about those things. So in this segment, guys, I want to talk about Mortal Kombat 12, something that I think is definitely an assured thing, but it's pretty much everything that we know so far about the game. I want to talk about that because Mortal Kombat 11, guys, obviously is the most popular and pretty much the best selling of any of the Mortal Kombat games to date. And I think that we can all rest assured that we're probably going to get a Mortal Kombat 12 at some point or another. But maybe we can talk about some of the things that we'd like to see in the future. So let's talk about it. Mortal Kombat 11 is one of the successful Mortal Kombat games in the whole franchise. This means that we now have more expectations for Mortal Kombat 12. So guys, this was written by Nitish Singh of Gamers Suffice, the Mortal Kombat 12 release date. So we're about 6 months or about, close to a year since Mortal Kombat 11 released. It received critical acclaim, not only from critics, but also from the users. At the time of writing, it has more than 90% positive reviews. This also means that the developers do not need to hurry the next interactions as they are working hard to provide new content to the game, including maps, characters, and more. According to the Mortal Kombat Fanon site, the next iteration, Mortal Kombat 12, will be released in 2023. It will be released on all the major platforms, including the upcoming consoles, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. So I think that's kind of an obvious thing, that it'll certainly be on the next generation consoles. 2023 seems... that seems legit to me, at least. When I think of, right now, obviously we're in 2020. You've got, let's just say a couple more years of Mortal Kombat 11, as well as maybe, one of the other franchises that, obviously, the developers want to work on. It's hard to say, what other games are there that they would maybe want to work on before working on Mortal Kombat 12. Hey, maybe they'll want to just move right into it. There's been talk of Injustice and the continuation of that franchise. But I think Mortal Kombat, this is assured, fighting game that they know is going to do really, really well. And if they put more time and resource into the continuation of the franchise, it could be something really special. So what can we expect from the Mortal Kombat 12? Mortal Kombat is a fighting game that is a different take. It offers excellent combos and brutality finish moves. This unique element is what makes Mortal Kombat so amazing. It is also a perfect fit for nostalgia, as it is an old franchise that keeps old players happy. Mortal Kombat 12 will keep evolving from what it has left. The story will possibly continue in Mortal Kombat 10, Liu Kang and Kitana defeated Raiden. This also meant that Raiden is not free from evil. The story evolved in Mortal Kombat 11. As we do not want to spoil the story, we will not speak here any of the elements here. But at the core, the story is not the main attraction. Which is true. It's mainly the combat is more the attraction. Story was good, obviously, for a fighting game. You can only expect so much, right? And it's basically you just fighting other characters throughout the course of the campaign. But what it does is, as should any campaign, is it kind of introduces you to the game, the lore, a little bit of the story. But what it mainly does is it actually helps you get used to some of the controls, if there's new controls. And that's why with any game, any new game that ships that I play, I always play the campaign if there is a campaign. I play that first, and then I play multiplayer, because throughout the course of the campaign, you'll start getting used to how the game works and stuff. If you just jump into the multiplayer, obviously you're kind of throwing yourself onto the coals. You got to basically just jump right on in and start trying to figure things out. Instead, you can kind of get an idea of what the experience is going to be like by playing the campaign, and then you move into the multiplayer. That's what I did, of course, with Mortal Kombat 11 as well. And so the story, sure, isn't it's not like the greatest, campaign of all time or something. However, it gets you introduced to the combat and even to a lot of the characters, which is great. Now, new characters. There will be a plethora of new characters that you will see in the upcoming game. The characters include new ones: Kovu, the Watcher, Ivory, Leon Black, Seth Branson, and Azuma. Many characters from the old games like Mortal Kombat 3D era, Mortal Kombat X, and Mortal Kombat 11 will also return to the game. The popular characters will, of course, be part of the game, including Sub-Zero, Reptile, Scorpion, Raiden, Kung Lao, and others. So, as far as the characters go, I love what Mortal Kombat 11 is doing. Basically, they're like taking some of the characters from Injustice, and what they're doing is putting them into Mortal Kombat, incorporating them in Mortal Kombat. So for those people who are into the Injustice franchise, you can play Mortal Kombat 11, you can kind of play some of your favorite characters. Like, you know, you got like the Joker, you got a lot of those DC Comics characters that are coming into Mortal Kombat, and that's absolutely awesome. I would say that they're going to do more of that with Mortal Kombat 12. At least that would be my assumption. So graphics and other improvements. As the game is still 4 years away, it still has a lot of time to come out. This means that we can see a graphics change when it comes out. The engine can take advantage of the new console hardware and provide unbeatable 4K 60 frames per second gameplay for smooth fighting sequences. We can also see some changes in mechanics, improvements in the upcoming game. The devs are always proactive in ensuring some freshness while keeping the core gameplay intact. My only concern, guys, I mean, I think graphically it's going to get better, as it should, with every single game. But the thing is, guys, is that I feel like they've set such a bar for Mortal Kombat now. Mortal Kombat 11 is like, it's just is so good on many levels that how are you going to get back to that point, right? Like with Mortal Kombat 12, I mean, you do some of the same, but you want to do things that are different enough that it doesn't seem like you're just doing a copy and paste of Mortal Kombat 11. And that's going to be something that's going to be very challenging for them, but I think that they're going to be obviously up for the challenge, and it's going to be something that might be really special as we move forward. Now, for me, as far as I'm concerned with the Mortal Kombat franchise, what some of the things that I would like to see personally, I would like to see some new characters. As I said, more characters from the DC Comics, and even some new characters that we have no idea, just completely new characters that they make up. I think would be really great. As far as the story's concerned, it doesn't have to be some, extremely detailed, campaign. I love having a campaign where I can get introduced to the story and the characters. But with Mortal Kombat, I'm there for the combat. Obviously, I'm there for the multiplayer experience after the campaign. So just something that can kind of, for new people, introduce you to the franchise, and for people who have been here, just something that you're building a little bit on the lore and all of that would be really cool. And here's the other thing, guys. I think a Mortal Kombat free-to-play game would be awesome. I think it could be huge. I look at games like Street Fighter. I look at games like Smash. All these games you have to pay for, right? Mortal Kombat could change the game by making it free to play. Here's the other thing, though, and I think about this with from the standpoint of esports is concerned. I think there should be an option where you can turn the gore off. Here's why. Not that I don't like the gore. I love the gore. But I think that the one thing with esports is, and we saw this EVO 2020, they stated that Mortal Kombat 11 was not going to make a presence there, and probably the main reason was because of the gore in the game. There's a lot of gore in Mortal Kombat 11, and it's been like that in pretty much all the Mortal Kombat games. What I think they should do, though, for the esports side is don't have an option where you can turn the gore off and maybe just not quite as gory. I think that would be really good for the esports side, because look, when we look at it in the totality of a game, esports helps games in a tremendous way with building fan bases and growing within engagement and all of that. Mortal Kombat could really use that within the esports realm as well to continue growing as an esport. And I think if you just tone down the gore, I've said this about other games like Gears of War and even like CSGO, having certain games that are just super gory, or just even a little gore and stuff, or even some of the terms that they use for the different teams of team names and things of that nature. I think Mortal Kombat could really do well as an esport, continue growing and thriving, if you just kind of turned the gore down somewhat for at least the big events where you have a lot of people watching. That's just my personal take on it. I would love to hear from you guys, though. What would you guys think about Mortal Kombat and them moving in that direction in the future? But what do you guys want to see from Mortal Kombat 12? All in all, guys, everything that we know so far, we pretty much don't know a lot about the game so far. Obviously, I haven't had a reveal trailer. We haven't had any even remotely anything come out to tell us that it's even being made, except for the fact that we pretty much are anticipating it simply because of how well Mortal Kombat 11 did. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to see in Mortal Kombat 12? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Mortal Kombat 12 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. So in my last segment of the show, guys, I wanted to talk about YouTube. Like, let's just talk about YouTube. And I wanted to have this, conversation and segment where it was dedicated to YouTube and how this platform has actually just changed my life completely in a number of ways. And I, want to kind of just show my gratitude to this platform just for being a platform that's here, a platform that is free for people to come to and watch content, and just it's been life-changing. And so I want to talk about that here in this part of the show, guys. So to kind of start here, when I say that YouTube has changed my life, I'm not going to say necessarily in like a financial way. Sure, we make money off of the YouTube channel. It's not a lot of money, but I don't do it for the money, right? I do it because I just love making videos. I love making content for you guys, and I love having real conversation through social media and through YouTube with all of you. The other thing is guys, I went to school for filmmaking. Okay, I'm a kid who is from a small town that obviously there wasn't much to do here other than kind of getting into trouble, whether that be the party scene, getting into drugs, getting into different different ways of life that obviously I wasn't raised basically not how I was raised, essentially how my parents raised me. My parents raised me really well. I was a pretty sheltered kid overall, but that's neither here nor there. What I will say is this, is YouTube was there. Like, YouTube's been here through some of those segments of my life where it was, I was going to school. I was at Ohio University, and there was like a huge party scene there. And at the time, it was like the #1 party school in the nation. And instead of going to parties a lot and doing things, that probably would have got me into some significant trouble, YouTube was a place that I could go and just create content. Or it was a place I could go to and watch other creators who had created content. YouTube, like gaming for me, actually has done so much for me as a person. I've learned more on YouTube than I ever did in a textbook in school. And that's just a fact for me. Now, it's going to be different for everyone, guys. But for me, I learned more about the world. I learned more about just, things in general, right? Like, I'll give you an example. When I was starting to get into the stock market and investing and things of that nature, I was really interested in it, but I didn't want to read just a ton of books on it. What I wanted to do was, I'm more of a visual learner, not so much from reading and trying to process things. It's easier for me to watch a video, process it. It's a lot more natural to process because it's almost like you're having an actual conversation or, like an interaction with that person that you're watching the video. And so I started watching a number of YouTubers that all they did was just talking about the stock market and finance. And so I started watching them, and I learned more from them than I ever would have in a textbook. And I just know myself. So YouTube was also the place in which, when I went to school, I transferred from Ohio University to the New York Film Academy, did a short-term program at the New York Film Academy for filmmaking, obviously. And I learned more on YouTube from, being kind of learning about filmmaking and what it meant to be a director, an actor, a producer. And I learned more from YouTube videos, creators that would make content based around filmmaking than I ever did in a textbook. Now, I did learn a lot at the New York Film Academy, more so than I did at my other previous, college experiences. And that was because it was more hands-on. They actually wanted, New York Film Academy is a great school when it comes to, they actually get you hands-on with the cameras and with all of that stuff. Not so much, it's not all like textbooks. It's some of it is, but it's more so hands-on, getting used to what it's like to be a filmmaker. But a lot of the intricate details and things I learned just from YouTube. So what am I getting at here, guys? What I'm getting at is YouTube has been here for me every step of the way. Every time I've, turned in one direction or another, it's been here. And I never took it as seriously as I do now. Ever since I started this YouTube channel, July 24th of 2018, and then I first upload was the following day, July 25th, 2018, and I haven't missed an upload day since. So every day since then, we've uploaded every single day on the YouTube channel, and that has been life-changing for me, because not so much, guys, that it gives me a purpose, but it's more, it's something that I can do that I really enjoy, because I'm not really involved in filmmaking and things of that nature really anymore. I'm not, unfortunately, because I don't have the time to work on movies and go on sets and such, because I have a full-time job, I have a family, so those things are tough. What I can do, though, is I can sit down, I can make a YouTube video, do my research on my videos, and I can do those videos and talk about a lot of these, gaming videos with all of you guys, whether it's gaming, whether it's filmmaking, whatever it might be. We can talk about it here on the YouTube channel, and that is how YouTube has changed my life, my perspective on just all of this. And the beautiful thing about it is that I can make videos that I enjoy. I like talking about video games and talking about movies, and I can do those things, and I can actually make a little bit of some money for doing it. Like, that's amazing. And it's amazing that you guys are supporting me at this point, like supporting me and my journey of trying to make this thing a real thing one day. As far as like a full-time gig would be unbelievable. But even if it's not even doing it as a full-time thing. It's more just doing it because it's here, and it's something that it kind of is. I'm able to share my story with all of you. It's like a daily thing that we're going through. Each day we're, talking about new games, or we're talking about, just life in general. And so that's what is the beautiful thing of YouTube, guys. And I think it's amazing what YouTube is doing right now for, just as a whole, as a company. Obviously, guys, there's so many different, when we look at YouTube and you look at just the juggernaut of a business that this is, but not only that, but they are, of course, owned by Google, which is a publicly traded company. And I think a lot of times people forget that the people working at YouTube are human beings, right? And so when things, go wrong, or things are just, people think that they're not being treated well, you got to remember that you have to, you treat YouTube as if, and the people at YouTube, like real people. I feel like sometimes that we kind of forget that. But all in all, I believe Team YouTube and YouTube Gaming and everyone who's working behind the scenes at YouTube is doing an incredible job, because after all these years, YouTube's still here. It's YouTube. It's your story that you can tell through a site like YouTube, and you're able to share pieces of your life, share some of your story, build a legacy for yourself that your kids and then their kids can follow, or they can watch your story, watch it unfold before their very eyes. It's something that we've never seen before. And I think that we, sometimes take it for granted that, what this could be for the future, what YouTube could be for the future, could be massive. It could be life-changing, guys. And I'm not talking like just in a financial way. I'm talking in a way in which, like, generations upon generations of people, after decades upon decades, will have access to watching your content on YouTube at some point or another. It's unbelievable. And I mean, you can watch like a day by day of what's kind of that person's been doing throughout the course of their life, and at least a period of their life. And that's a beautiful thing. You can even see it even more so than like my channel. You can see it so much more with like people who do vlogs and stuff. And vlogs were something that I have done in the past. But, you know, people who do vlogs and they're traveling and doing all those different things, it's an unbelievable platform that has opened human potential. And I look at YouTube as kind of like the stock market. It's opened human potential in a creative space. And so to YouTube, Team YouTube, YouTube Gaming, Fwiz, Susan, YouTube creators, all of you guys who are behind the scenes working really hard for YouTube and YouTube Gaming, which is pretty much where, you know, my small segment and small area within the ecosystem of YouTube. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for having a place that I can create content, having a place that I can have my voice heard by, whether it's, you know, a couple thousand people or, you know, a couple hundred people. It's a beautiful thing, guys, that I have been able to just have an opportunity to have somewhere to go that I can, you know, and a lot of you guys have accepted me as a creator on YouTube, as someone who you guys like to interact with and talk to and watch my content, and really we can have real conversations, whether, you know, mostly here on YouTube though. And that's like such an incredible thing. The community that we have right now is amazing. And I'm excited about where we're going, like what we're trying to do here. And I'll forever be, you know, in your guys's, you know, debt for just all that you guys have just, you know, all the support. And even the people who don't like my content or don't like, you know, me as a person for whatever reason, with every good, you know, every good apple or every group of good apples, there's always bad apples, right? And so you got to take the good with the bad. And I think YouTube has created this place where it's actually kind of given me some thicker skin too, to kind of deal with some of the backlash I get, or some of just the people who are trolling or just hating on some of my videos for whatever reason. It gives you that thicker skin. And so as a person, it helps you to kind of grow as well. And that's just what I think YouTube has done for me. It's kept me out of trouble. It's given me a creative space that I can talk, that I can have this kind of this internet type connection with all of you. And it's been life-changing. It's kept me out of trouble, and it has given me a place that I can really express myself and talk about the things that I love, that being video games and that being movies and other creators on YouTube and streamers and just the whole nine. We can talk about whatever we want here. And I guess you can't talk about whatever you want, but you know what I mean. It is a beautiful thing, guys, and I will always be thankful. But I wanted to take this moment just to say thank you, YouTube, for being who you guys are. Keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you guys for, you know, creating a place in which I can, you know, make content and continue trying to build something special. And so together, guys, I think we all need to really come together as, you know, as a community, whether that's in gaming or filmmaking or whatever part of life you are tracking or, you know, trending down. Got to come together, work together. You know, let's build each other up. Let's not tear each other down. That goes for, you know, just us as a community, but it also comes down to like even to developers, even to like YouTube itself. Be positive. Stay positive. Don't like always, you know, don't come into things with a negative attitude. Just be positive, man. Like it's life is a beautiful thing, and let's just, you know, I think we got to take advantage of that. But once again, guys, thanks so much for all the support. I am going to continue creating as much content as I can for you that is of high quality, and I'm trying to get better. I want to get better, and I want you guys to keep telling me ways that you want me to get better. I know what you guys want, but I love like hearing and having real conversations with you guys. I it's something that I really look forward to. And I just want to get better, and I want all of us to try to get better together. So with that, guys, thank you, YouTube. You guys have changed my life, and you're continuing to change my life. Thank you. And here we go, guys, to that next segment of the channel as we continue moving forward. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys all are as well. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.